What you see as a body, what you see as an inert, almost static body, is in constant flow. What you see as the body is a flow of energy. What is your blood, flesh, bone right now? Few months ago, it was wheat, it was an apple, it was a tomato. Few months before that, it was just sunshine, oxygen, soil. And if you go billions of years back, it was just Big Bang. And before that, what it was is not known. Not known by science, not known by anyone else. Even right now, in this static looking body, there are cells that are dying, cells that are dividing, cells that are getting born. It is not a static body. Even if you look from the perspective of form, perspective of matter, this is not the body that was few years ago or few decades ago. According to science, in about 9 years, all your cells die. So every 9 years, at the level of cell, you have a new body. You have a body that was not there before. Water becomes ice, water becomes vapor. Before that, hydrogen and oxygen become liquid water. But it is not a death. Hydrogen and oxygen becoming water is not really death of that which was hydrogen and oxygen. Water becoming vapor is not really death of water. Ice melting away, ice becoming water is not death of ice. It is just a flow of energy. It is just transformation. Your body is no longer different from wheat, from apple, from maple, from vegetables. It becomes flesh, it becomes blood, it becomes bones. And from body, whatever comes out goes back into the same natures, and in few decades or in few years become soil. So it's just a flow of energy, transformation of form. At the body level, death is clearly not there. It's just flow of energy. And when you think of death in terms of soul, in terms of Atma, in terms of consciousness, in terms of who you are, before you can answer if it dies, you need to investigate if it is born right now. You have to investigate the one that is right now. Is it only right now, or is it the one that was born yesterday, day before, or a month ago, or years ago, or decades ago? Where was this I when you were in deep sleep? Where was this I when you were in mother's womb? This I is not something that is constant. It is not something that was born few years ago or even yesterday or even few moments ago. This I, this identity, this personhood, this meanness is born right now, is born out of memory, is born out of identification. Consciousness is, but when this consciousness identifies with the memory, identifies with images, that's when it becomes an identity. That's when it becomes an ego. That's when it becomes a person. And this being born as a person happens in now. It happens right now. And this process can stop right now if you stop feeding it. If you stop giving it any more energy, any more attention. And when this process stops, this I, this identity, this ego dies right now, this very moment. It doesn't have to wait for years, decades. It can die right now. And its death is what is called Nirvana. Its death is what is called exiting samsara. Samsara is nothing but identifying with this entity, with this me, with this little I, with this ego. It is accessing the memory and imagining that everything that you have in memory, that you see in memory, has happened to this little entity or might happen to this little entity, and then assuming that this little entity is who you are, assuming that this little entity is who you are, who you really are, not realizing that this identification is happening right now. You are doing it, you are creating it, you are feeding it. Samsara is repeating this cycle of identification and experiencing fear by seeing that this entity is not really eternal, by realizing that this entity is subject to death and birth.